This morning, the second criminal trial for Hunter Biden begins. The president's son's spending habits and drug addiction expected to be center stage in the California courtroom. Jury selection begins in just a matter of hours. Hunter Biden is charged with tax evasion and filing a false return after failing to pay more than $1 million in federal taxes on time. Now, Hunter has pleaded not guilty, and all of this comes just months after he was found guilty on gun charges. His lawyers say Hunter's drug addiction fueled out-of-control spending habits. Joining me now is trial attorney John Fishwick, former U.S. attorney for the Western District of Virginia. John, thank you so much for your time this morning. I appreciate it. I'm curious, is this trial about to feel like deja vu, from Hunter's first, with the exact same witnesses, same evidence playing out in this trial?
Markie, it'll be very similar, I think. It's going to be Hunter Biden's defense is going to be, look, I was using drugs and alcohol at the time. I didn't know what I was doing, and I failed to pay my taxes. It was the same kind of defense that he had in the gun charge. I didn't know what I was doing when I filled out that application that I possessed a gun. I was an addict at the time. But the evidence in this case, Markie, is going to be more overwhelming. The prosecution is going to really focus on his extravagant lifestyle, staying at fancy hotels, driving fancy cars with escorts, going to strip clubs, and receiving millions of dollars in income and not paying taxes. And so most folks on a jury, their taxes are taken out every 2 weeks when they get paid. So it's going to be, I think, much more overwhelming evidence.
Yeah, you bring up that salacious spending, and I want to bring that up because the prosecution wants to highlight some of those habits. They include a $43,000 hotel bill, $11,000 for 2 nights with an escort, another $4,000 at a strip club. Why is his personal spending so important in this case, and how damning will that be for Hunter?
I think it'll be very damning. Now, what the prosecution wants to show is that on some of those expenses, he actually deducted from his tax returns when he got around to making the tax returns and paying the taxes in 2020. So he deducted some of these hotel stays, payments to strippers. And so they're saying, well, you knew you could write these off, but yet you didn't pay the taxes. So I don't know how much the judge is going to let him get into these salacious details, but I think a fair amount to show that he had lots of income, that he was living a high lifestyle, and that in fact he tried to deduct some of these expenses for this high lifestyle, but he didn't pay the government his taxes.
Yep, more than $1 million. Biden's lawyer, Mark Garagos, we know he's expected to argue that Hunter Biden did not willfully break the law, that his addiction impacted his decision-making and judgment to the extent that he could not have intentionally committed these crimes with which he's charged. Is that a strong case?
It's not. It's going to be a real uphill battle for the Hunter Biden team. And probably their best argument the judges said they can't make, and that is eventually Hunter Biden did pay his taxes, the $1.4 million in taxes, after he had failed to file the tax returns and after he had failed to make the payments. But in tax cases, that's not really admissible evidence. What you look at is at the time you paid the taxes or were supposed to pay the taxes, and at the time you were supposed to file your taxes, what did you do? So the defense is really going to be uphill, I think, to say, look, I didn't know what I was doing because I was addicted to drugs.
As I mentioned earlier, jury selection begins today. His dad, President Biden, has obviously dropped out of the race, but in such a divisive election year, is it a fool's errand to think that you can find an impartial jury?
Markie, I think you can. Jurors are under oath. My experience is they're very conscientious. They're going to listen to the judge's instructions and follow the law. The judges approved detailed questions for all the jurors that will take place today and tomorrow as the judge helps the lawyers pick a jury of 12 folks and some alternates. He's going to ask them about their politics, about have they had addiction touch their families, have they had interactions with the IRS. I think you can weed out the folks who aren't going to be fair. I expect you'll get a fair jury.
Okay, well, we will wait and see, and we'll be on top of every detail as it happens in real time. John Fishwick, thank you so much, sir. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.